Thank you, John. Thank you all for being here. Hello, Washington County. It's good to be here. Speaking of those sons, one of them was sick today, and then as soon as I got him taken care of, my car broke down. So here I am, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I am running for Oregon Supreme Court because I believe Oregonians are more likely to receive justice and equal treatment under the law before an Oregon Supreme Court comprised of justices from different backgrounds. And that's what I bring that's different than my two opponents, is a different background. I've had nearly 21 years now of experience practicing law in the private sector. I've represented individuals, people, plaintiffs, defendants. I've represented small and medium-sized businesses for a number of years. I've been involved in complex business disputes, business litigation. I've had experience in tax, bankruptcy. I have experienced in my 21 years representing real people and real businesses. Before I graduated 21 years ago from law school, I also had the pleasure of practicing in the Marion County District Attorney's Office as a certified law student. I am the one of the three of us who's actually practiced criminal law, which is a very significant portion of the Supreme Court's docket. During that time, I tried hundreds of jury trials and dealt with some weighty constitutional issues. So in addition to that experience in private practice, I am a judge. I was appointed in 2007 by the Oregon Supreme Court as a pro tem judge for Multnomah County. During that now 5 years, I've been faced with and ruled on and decided hundreds and hundreds of cases. So that has given me the judicial experience that I think is necessary for one striving to become a member of the state's highest court. In addition to my experience that I've just described, I bring a different perspective to this position. And one of the things that Oregon voters have to assess is what is it that each of us bring that's unique, and what is it that we need on the state's court to make the court itself stronger. And I think what we need right now is somebody with that 21 years of private practice experience that we don't currently have. Come January, we will already have 4 judges 4 justices on our state's highest court who have come directly from the Court of Appeals. One of my opponents is currently sitting on the Court of Appeals. I think that's great experience, but I also think that experience is covered now with the current configuration of the court. Come January, we will also have a former trial judge on our state's highest bench. Another opponent is currently a trial judge. I happen to believe it is important for our state's highest court to have a trial judge, a former trial judge, on the bench. We will fortunately have that with Judge Dave Brewer when he ascends to the Supreme Court because he's running for the other position unopposed. So in addition to my experience and my perspective, what I also bring to this position, John Tyner and I work together on the Board of Governors. I have a passion and commitment for access to justice. I was president of the Oregon State Bar in 2005. I was elected by 13,000 Oregon lawyers. I was president-elect in 2004. During my tenure as president, I made access to justice my highest priority. Chief Justice Carson and Chief Judge Brewer and I lobbied the legislature for adequately funding indigent defense, for making sure our judiciary had adequate funds. We initiated a statewide disability task force, and the mission of that was to assess all of the facilities around our courts to see what barriers to entry folks had with various disabilities. I also started the first ever statewide loan repayment assistance program, so every law student in our state who wanted to practice public interest law after he or she graduated but couldn't because of the crushing debt load, this gave them that opportunity. So those were a few of my professional achievements with the help of John and others on the Board of Governors to make access to justice a top priority. Outside of my role as a lawyer and my work on the Board of Governors, I've also personally been involved in a number of issues, and I see some familiar faces at some of those groups. I have been for 5 years now a volunteer lawyer for the ACLU. I fight for free speech, freedom of religion, and all kinds of other issues that come up through the ACLU. For 7 years, I was a volunteer on the Metro Area Crisis Line, and that was a service that provided a number for anybody who needed assistance, no matter what it was. I helped battered women get the protection they needed. I assisted homeless men in getting transitional and permanent housing, and I also assisted people with mental issues and disabilities get the care they needed. Those are just a few things along the access to justice area that I've professionally been involved in. But the reason I believe that I'm so passionate about it professionally is because of my experience growing up. John mentioned in Salt Lake City, Utah. I was the youngest of three children, and my family suffered very difficult economic hardship. When my parents got divorced, we really could barely make ends meet and often did not. But it was through the good works and help of lawyers and others who helped my family that I think we were able to navigate through that difficult time. And as I look back now and think about why access to justice is so important to me, I know it's because I feel it in my heart and my gut, and it was because of my experiences at a very, very young age. So with your help and the assistance of all Oregon voters, I will take my perspective as a private practice lawyer in my experience, 21 years, to the state's highest court. I am the one of the three of us who has spent time in every county in our state working with business leaders and religious leaders and lawyers. I've practiced law in nearly every county of our state. So I have a great appreciation for who we are as Oregonians, both as our strengths and our differences. And as a statewide elected office, I will take with me that perspective. So I'm here to introduce myself to you and ask for your vote, and I'll very much look forward to the question and answer session following. Thank you all so very much.